As I become more deranged with each passing day in this tornado of torment, I become annoyed, bothered, perhaps a little disgruntled more and more often. There are a lot of things that I could complain about that annoy me, that I could talk about for hours on end. Double parking, traffic, the slow collapse of our civilization. But there are a lot of things that make me mad, that make normal people start looking around for exits. They are all locked. Instead of talking about real problems, I want to matrix mind upload some of my twisted opinions directly into your brainstem. We will do the moon for you, not because it's the government, but because I am hard. We're starting off strong with this one. Do you remember back in 2006 when Pluto was demoted from planet to dwarf planet? Do you know why that was? Basically, back in ancient times, people could look up with their eyeballs and see 6 heavenly bodies: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Then some guy found out you can put like little windows in front of your eyes and you can see better. So we found even more planets. That's cool, it's neat, we like it. And telescopes keep getting better and we find like more and more and more. Now there's like 200 planets. So what do? Well, we do the reasonable and scientific thing. We just start changing the definition of what a planet is so that we can keep our like nice, neat, satisfying number. Can you imagine if we did this in any other science? Ah, yes, there are 3 species of animal. There is hairy thing, little thing, and fish. Sir, we've just found 1 million more animals. Well, those don't count. So the current definition of a planet is thus. 1, it has to be large enough for gravity to make it a sphere. 2, it must orbit a star. 3, it must clear its orbit of other large objects. Rule tier list. Rule number 1, good, A tier. It makes sense, otherwise just like literally every single thing would be a planet. Rule number 2, D tier, I don't like that one. It kind of makes sense if you don't think about it, like, okay, the Earth has to like orbit a star to like be a planet. But like what happens if you just like grabbed the Earth with like a really big hand and just like threw it into interstellar space? Like just magically it's not a planet anymore. Now rule number 3 is where everything just completely goes to shit. F tier. E tier, Z tier, I would say. Worst rule ever. Basically, we just like decided that if there's another big ball and it's orbiting like near you, then you're not a planet. Why was that important? Because like it's the only rule we could come up with that makes all of our like favorite children planets stay planets and everything else not be a planet. Pluto was just like an unfortunate sacrifice caught in the crossfire. In my head, if it's a ball and it's not a star, it's a planet. You know, I don't care what it's doing. I don't care who it wants to orbit. That's none of my business. Have you forgotten the plot yet? Yes, the moon is a planet. Have you ever said this sentence? I don't understand having your cake and eating it too. If I had a cake, of course I would eat it. If so, I am very sorry. You've been brainwashed by big cake. It means you can't receive the benefits of doing something without actually doing that thing. You can't like spend money to buy things and still keep the money. Things in life are often trade-offs. That's like what the phrase means. Why then is this phrase like so confusing? It's because we're saying it backwards. The original phrase is, you can't eat your cake and have it too. Did you feel that? You know, the way it just like magically makes sense now and you can understand the message? So, okay, I'm gonna channel the energy of those linguistics guys from YouTube Shorts real quick. Check this out. So, technically speaking, both orders of the phrase mean the same thing in a grammatical sense, but the order is an important aspect of communication. When we say one thing before a different thing, we often imply a sequence of events, and the sequence of having a cake and then eating it feels natural. The phrase does not state this by saying you can't have your cake then eat it too, which would be nonsensical, but the word and can mean so many things that we immediately assume it means a next step in a sequence within this context. Okay, nerd time over. The important thing is that I'm not the only pedant to be annoyed by this. There is actually a very famous person who is well known for sharing my opinion, the Unabomber. Why is it that it takes 15 minutes for me to order a bagel when there are only 3 people in front of me? It's like these people get to the counter and they don't even know what a bagel is. Like a few years ago, this place had a policy where if you didn't know what you wanted, the like second you got to the counter, they just told you to kick rocks and they'd take the next person's order, and that was awesome. They probably got rid of it though because they got a lot of complaints. All I'm saying is, if they don't want people pissing in the sink, why is it the perfect height? Imagine inventing the bathroom and you're like, yeah, instead of a private toilet, we want shitting to be a communal activity. Let's make 2 big rooms where everyone shits together. Of course, it would be crazy for men and women to shit in the same room, so we gotta separate that at least. You know what's awesome? Single-person bathrooms. You know what's not awesome? Gendered single-person bathrooms. I have seen lines out the door of gas stations because the man bathroom was occupied and none of the trucker dudes could go into the woman bathroom, despite them being two identical rooms with one toilet each, meant for one person. Like, at this rate, with all the hysteria going around about, like, gender-neutral bathrooms, I wouldn't be surprised if the toilets in your house start having gender signs on them. In conclusion, I don't know, I'm the Joker, I guess. Can you see my light? Do you want my shade?